Hi, welcome back to Hey Miss Kelda. This is Kelda Lane Poynott, author and educator. Question 25. How do you deal with no additional help? Homeschooling can feel very isolating, much like early parenting, much like if you've been in a career situation and then now are no longer working outside the home. So this can be a challenge. So for me, with four very young children, or during pregnancies, or during those early days when I had a newborn, or maybe when we were having other moves and other transitions going on, that I realized that my husband was probably working 14, 15, 16-hour days. I had the total responsibility of the household and the children during those seasons, and that during that time, I needed to, first of all, reset or lower my expectations of what my spouse could help me with. That was the first thing that I need just to make peace in that time. I also had to simplify my obligations. I didn't do a great deal of things that required me to get my children out of the house and all put together. We made church a priority. We made certain homeschooling activities a priority, but it wasn't a daily thing. I didn't go looking for more things to fill our days. I very much lowered and simplified. I made it streamlined so that I meal planned so that I didn't have to make that decision every day to what we were going to have for supper. I very much simplified and streamlined our breakfast routine, our lunch routine, just the things that seemed daunting. Um, we used um, we used a lot of paper plates during that time so that I didn't have to wash dishes, as many dishes during the day, or we chose to eat on paper towels. We also took a lot of food outside and just ate kind of out of the same dish. We would make one big, tray of sandwiches, or we'd make a big, fruits and veggie tray or something, and we would go outside and eat, which eliminated more, which put the mess outside, or than having even more mess inside. Some days we would just do school outside. Some days we would be outside as much as possible for my very active children. And if that meant me taking a book outside and sitting, on the ground with them while, just making sure they didn't eat sticks or something. But we had days where I just needed to make sure that we were keeping everything as calm as possible with as little stimulation as possible. And if it meant that we were going to, that I would routinely have times where I would plug my children up into a video game or a video just so that I could have a little bit of like mom time in my brain. So there's no guilt about that. I was in survival mode. And so with having no additional help in my home and being completely outnumbered by children, you it takes a different mindset to think that I can't do all of this, but I'm going to do as much as I can, and I'm going to leave the rest. And then I'm going to incorporate a routine with my children so that they can help out when necessary, and that we can kind of tag team the baby or whatever we need to do. And we are going to find a way to nurture these little people and maintain our sanity. So finding that balance can be a tricky dance, but I had to release any feelings of resentment that were taking seed. I had to release any sense of um, that I was a victim in this, or that it just the unfairness of it. I had to release all of that, and I had to say, what can I do that's the very best for this family, for these little people that I have been entrusted with, and how can I make sure that we're eating well, we're having plenty of time to play and be free, and to look at it more as a blessing and as a privilege that I get to be the one to really pour into my children, rather than having to trust other people to do that for them. Um, but I think having the mindset is the first thing. And if we can help our attitudes be healthy, to say this is a season, and that I'm not going to have my husband be able to come in and do with me and work alongside with me during this time. And that this is the responsibility that I've taken on with our children, and that he's taking on the responsibility of being the breadwinner and doing all that he can in that. And we very much supported one another in those roles. We very much encouraged one another in those roles. And when we kind of have those dips or hard days, or just, oh, we're just overwhelmed, that we have to remember that this is for a season and that this is a worthy sacrifice. And so, having no additional help, please lower your expectations, simplify your obligations, find out what the bare minimum is, whether that's bare minimum of housework, bare minimum of schoolwork, bare minimum of food planning, any of that. Make sure that it's just what you can do and what you can do the with the children that you have in your household. Where to find me? KeldaLanePointot.com. You can schedule consultations. If you're interested in a consultation, please don't hesitate to contact me, and we can set something up even over the phone or Zoom. And if you're not local, and please check out my workshops on Patreon. Have a great day.